Obama standing, I think he was standing under, he was probably on Plaza de Revolucion, and he was standing under Che Guevara, and like Miami Cubans were like so riled up, and they were so pissed off that he would do that. And after all of that, the revolution has done, like, how could he stand under? I think that what's so interesting about that, and the New York Times interviewed a janitor from Miami who said it didn't bother him. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is that Che, like, he's become an international, exactly. And I think he's become an international symbol for so much more than not just the revolution, but then the Miami Cuban experience. So I think that's really narrow to see it that way. And another thing is that I think that the ideals of he and Camilo Cienfuego, they're probably considerably different than what the revolution ended up as. And I just think that that's like very close-minded of them to say that. I think though both of those men are dead, and it's, you know, you've ever, like, there was that saying, like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I think that I'm far from a revolutionary person, but I think that even their young ideals, it's completely changed from what actually happened and what the revolution then brought. And things like the special period, the rations, the poverty, the embargo, all of that stuff is so much more than Che Guevara and Camilo Cienfuegos. I don't think that, you know, I think that once someone, especially one person, you know, they started out as three, and if it ends up as one person having all of this power, shit's gonna hit the fan. I think that's pretty obvious in most cases of things. That's why we have things like checks and balances, stuff like that, because we're all humans, and that's something to remember even especially during times like days like today. And it's hard when you like look at people like Donald Trump spewing his hate, is that we're all human. So the president is not the be all end all. Kind of what you said about Obama not being able to bring back the political prisoners. They represent us, but they're not our gods. They're not like, this is an ancient Egypt. They're not pharaohs. They're not gods on earth. So they make mistakes, and some of them are pretty terrible people. And once they have a lot of power, no matter how pure and great their ideals are, it gets to their head. Yeah, and so, and you know, like, even Trump not even having power, but now that he has this platform, that the ridiculous things that he says. So I thought that was such a silly thing that people were really protesting about. I think it was, and it's really delusional to think that in this day and age that America is going or can continue to isolate a country that is so close. It's in less than an hour flight from Miami. It's in our best interest. Like, if the country is so close, especially what's going on right now, I think it's so silly to have the attention with a place that, I think it was like JFK that said it, Cuba was like a knife in the heart of America. I think it was JFK. But yeah, I mean, they're so close that it would be stupid to continue this and not determine or not try to make start the peace process. And he can't bring back the political prisoners, but you know, it has to start somewhere. It wasn't gonna, like, him going down and Castro's gonna release everyone. We have to be, I think it's like managing our expectations a little bit. And that's what's hard with a lot of campaign rhetoric. There's a lot of over-promising, and that you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt, even though I would imagine it's definitely hard, but you definitely have to take it with a grain of salt, because the president isn't the be-all, end-all. You saw with all of the bills that Obama tried to pass that was blocked by Congress. There's so much more than just them and then just what they want. And there's a good reason that there's more than just them. But yeah. How are the homes? Oh, they are, sorry, I'm pulling up the thing. So they, there's a lot of reconstruction or like renovation going on right now. It's really scary. There's a lot of renovation going on right now. I was reading this week that even more so started to be done in terms of paving of the roads with Obama's visit. That being said, a lot where we were staying, there were a lot of former mansions of the elites that were confiscated and now are government buildings. And then also a lot of these mansions were turned into apartments. So, and not like our apartments like we know in the US that, I live very separately from my neighbors. You could live like very same floor, open doors as as your neighbor. It's kind of community style in that way. All of like the ruins and that kind of stuff, those places that are in disrepair that we see, people are living in those. And so people are living in these houses that the roof might cave in tomorrow. And if the roof caves in, the government will relocate you because that's part of them providing housing. So they'll relocate you, and your whole life is in Havana, but you might not get relocated in Havana. You might get relocated to like Vinales or Santiago de Cuba, which is so far from where you live. That's you getting a new job. That's all of this that happens if your house falls down the roof caves in, or the stairwell walls, and this kind of stuff happens every day there. So, and people die because of it, in terms of the construction mishaps. And what I was saying about like the little extras, I mentioned sneakers, that kind of superficial stuff, air conditioning. The little extras there are to do those repairs that to us would be a big priority. If there's a water leak coming out of your bedroom, to get that fixed. It's not a priority there. If that roof is still on, it's still good. It's because the government's providing your housing. So that's how the homes there, they kind of run the gamut. But they're beautiful. The architecture is beautiful. So there's that. But yeah, it's definitely it definitely can use some TLC, and I think that they've been given money towards it, but who knows how far it will go. However, someone did say I was reading with the Obama visit that the government put a lot of money in the center and the areas that he would be to, putting a new coat of paint on things and paving the streets where there were like giant potholes and things like that. So, it could look nicer for his visit. So that's another benefit. And someone said gave quotes to the press that if it takes Obama coming here for that pothole to get fixed, then thank you, Obama. But that's sad, but it's kind of what I was alluding to earlier about while we definitely weren't being watched, there's a situation, I'm sure there's what the government wants you to see and what you actually see. Yeah, they need more than just street. Exactly. And it's kind of there's a certain thing that there's a nice preservation of culture that's before commercialism can take hold. So there's that beauty of it, that the idea, there's no McDonald's, or obviously there's none of that. There are not even Cuban versions of that, like the idea of chain stores. So that's pretty cool. And the literacy rate. So there are a lot of really great, beautiful things about the country, and there are a lot of ways that, from being shut out from a neighbor so close, which is what makes a difference versus Europe, is that they're left behind. Anyone else have any other questions? I can't check my DMs to see if people sent me, but you can watch on the replay earlier, because when it was a little slower, I was explaining how I got there and the types of visas. Bonjour. The types of visas that were taken, that we took. We took a people-to-people visa, which you can print out at home, so that's pretty cool. And thanks for joining me on Travel Tuesday. Bye.